and we're going to talk about pre-wedding anxiety. All right. What is pre-wedding anxiety?
So pre-wedding anxiety is like nervousness, anxiousness, fear even about the wedding before it happens. And this can show up in a variety of ways. It's really common, it's really normal. But like if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're irritable, more angry, quick to be set off, that's a good indicator that you have some pre-wedding anxiety. If you just can't stop thinking about the wedding, that's another sign as well. Yeah, so anything nervous about the wedding, just wondering if the day is ever going to get there. That's pre-wedding anxiety.
Yeah. So what's some of the causes? What causes couples to experience this anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the night before the wedding or maybe a week before.
Yeah, yeah. And so I know for me, like I was nervous about my wedding for sure. And like the factors with that is that you're already running a full life at this point.
Hmm.
Most of us will have jobs and other things. Like we barely have time to even like date at this point. And now we've successfully achieved that. And now we want to add a wedding to it. So that adds basically another part-time job onto the stress that we're already working with. And so it really dumps out the cup of like our emotional capacity that's already pretty low, and it just adds more to it. And so a lot of causes to pre-wedding anxiety is that it's something that none of us have ever done before, most of us, and have never planned a wedding before. So there's so many new realms of just the elements of going on there. There's the family dynamics that come in because family's hard. Then you're dealing with somebody else's family. And so trying to make sure everyone's happy as much as they can be, continuing to maintain our relationship and everything else that we have to do. And then there's this whole factor that my life is going to change upon this day. And that's a really big deal. So if you weren't nervous and didn't have any anxiety about it, I think this shows that you're not thinking deeply enough about it.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head right there, especially with family. I think I've officiated, I don't know, a ton of weddings, and the family dynamics is always, it seems like it's always the biggest stress, dealing, and it's insane. And one of the anxieties I know that's out there too is some of the negative voices that
Mm-hmm.
are out there. You're too young or you don't have enough money. I think if we're trying to always, measure ourselves by other people's standards, then surely that's going to cause anxiety too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I remember my family is from rural Missouri. And so there was always this joke that I never felt like a joke that like, man, marriage is the ball and chain, man. Like you better be ready. And I took that with a grain of salt, but I'm like, like, I hope it's not like this. I really like my wife, Krista. And then a year into marriage, it was just like, man, this is false. Like the expectation reality of what marriage was much different than what other people would told me, right? Every marriage is different. It's up to you to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to make sure that your marriage is successful.
Yeah. So what's some advice you'd give somebody
Yeah.
who's experiencing pre-wedding anxiety?
Yeah. So advice to those that are experiencing pre-wedding anxiety: set aside time to still date with your partner, right? Still have times to where you guys are being a normal couple the way that you guys were before. Set rules about no wedding talk. Just enjoy each other's company and remember why you're about to ready to make this commitment and why the wedding is about to happen. Secondly, talk about the anxiety. Be open and honest with it. It's okay. When people don't, if we don't share about the anxiety that we're feeling and experiencing, it does not allow those that are around us to come in and help, because there may be things that other people can help with and they don't
Mhm.
know unless we talk about it. And they can't give us the wisdom that might be needed in those moments. And then even with our spouse, with our partner, it's important to talk about the anxiety with them, saying, hey, this is where I'm at. um, and that's okay.
Yeah.
third is delegate, man. If you can delegate, if it's not important and you can delegate it to somebody else, delegate it. And that's okay. And so, but the last one, I think this is the most important one, is to make sure that you have good self-care, continuing the routines that you have of like spending time with the father, or even working out, and just enjoying life, the things that we do to take care of ourselves on a normal basis. Continue those, even enhance those, because when more stress comes in, we need those even more in our lives. And that's the same with the wedding as well.
Yeah, and I think there are also preventative measures that you can take. If I'm going to officiate a wedding, I don't do that unless we've gone through marriage counseling, go through some workbooks. And I know that can really alleviate a lot of, or eliminate a lot of those stresses and anxieties. So that would also be my advice in that too.
I really like what you say about premarital counseling there. I think it's important, like what I've seen a lot, not only as someone who's officiated weddings, but then also as a counselor that does premarital counseling, is that it is always better to get your premarital counseling done early. And then that allows me space as the counselor to be able to help you guys regulate some of this anxiety that comes up with the wedding as it comes before. If we're trying to cram everything into, like, I've done it in 6 weeks before, and that's pretty quick. That's not enough time. And then if we're able to like get it done beforehand, when other things come up, we have the tools in place already to be able to work through that, as we already have that foundation established.
Yeah. And it won't eliminate every single stress, but I think what it allows is you to be able to set the expectations and, create those boundaries. And it really works a lot of things out. So it's a good plug here to get into counseling, premarriage counseling. So that's good stuff, man. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah. So the last one is, again, the premarital plug. Is there was a research study done by Doctors Les and Leslie Parrott, and they saw that every couple that did premarital counseling had about a 31 to 33% marriage satisfaction increase compared to those that did not seek it.
Wow.
And that's a big chunk.
Yeah.
So I think it's super encouraging to be able to do premarital counseling, because it helps a lot.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to write that down so I could tell all my people that. That's good.